Kevin McCullough.
And we're back from Times Square. Kevin McCullough, glad to have you with us. Helen Smallbone is my guest. And Helen, just before the break, you were telling us that you had basically had 3 doors slam shut on your family and say, that's not what's going to happen. So what did happen?
Well, after David got over the shock of all that, he then sat back and thought, we should still go to America. We've got the tickets. We should go. And I was encouraging that direction because I knew he couldn't do anything else but Christian music. And so he said, well, I can't come without a job. So he came to America. He went around, saw some different artists, and he did pick up another management job. And so we came to America in August 1991 with that job in hand. But David's reputation on losing that money, on I don't know, probably just even, it was deemed a bit of a failure and people didn't want to work with him, which is why Carmen pulled out. And so after 2 months, this particular artist also pulled out. So then it was another, we're here now. So God used the tickets to get us here. He wanted us here. And then that door closed. We were, as you can imagine, pretty devastated. By then, God had shown us that we could work and get some income by doing menial tasks, by raking lawns, mowing lawns, babysitting, cleaning houses, and we were all doing that together. And that really became, I don't know, like a training ground for us to be able to work together as a family, to accept each other's strengths and weaknesses, to give grace to each other. And then when Rebecca did get signed, a couple of years later, when she was 15 in 1993, and then her album, Rebecca St. James, came out in 1994, we couldn't bear to be split apart and separated. So we actually then started to travel together with her, with the boys being her crew.
One of the things that I've noticed, and I've interviewed Rebecca a number of times over the years, but one of the things that I will tell you, as having someone who worked deeply in the business and still has a lot of people that I know, producers, artists, managers, etc., that there was a unique spirit of humility about Rebecca's presence and the way she would always deflect the praise and the glory of anything that she did well and give it back to her heavenly Father, but also you as her family. And she would, I wondered what, at the time, what pain had brought such humility out of a person's spirit, because it is not something that we are born with. We are, as human beings, we are obnoxious little boogers. And so many times the Lord has to kind of soften the ground and get us into the place where he wants us. But I know that she's been used mightily because of that in many respectful ways. And I think it was that season of what you just described that probably, as much as anything, helped her understand what she was called to was quite special. And
she's also an oldest child of a large family. And I think that's also the training ground for stepping in and doing what you can when you need to, being responsible, being a carer. And I think that gave her some of the gifts, I think, that you're talking about, though she did feel very overwhelmed. And the movie's been good for me, because when I viewed Rebecca in those days, I was viewing this very capable, could do anything, my right hand girl, teenager. And then the movie shows me her vulnerability, that she was still really a child. And she kept saying, I feel so inadequate for this task that God has for me, which is why she would pray before everything she did. Prayer had become a huge reliant, because I think it was her needing to know that God is with me on this journey. He's giving me the strength for this journey. And whatever I do, I'm giving back to him. And I think that was a huge foundation of who she is. And she set then that standard in a way for the boys, even though they were younger, even though they've had different life experience. They grew up respecting their older sister and who she was, and they've accepted some of those traits in their lives as well.
Well, I was very moved by the fact that your story was being told in this way. And friends, I want you to go see it. Unsung Hero dot movie is where you can go and get more information all about the film, unsung hero dot movie. And this is the second film project in a couple of years for Joel, because he was in the Journey to Bethlehem film last year and had a very powerful part in that story as well. So who knows, maybe there's more movies ahead for the Smallbone clan as well, but we will see where that goes.
Stick around for more of That